Welcome back to my channel at The Movie Optimist, where I try and find the silver linings in even the worst of films. The first reactions were just released for Thunderbolts, and I want to go over it. So let's take a look down below on Rotten Tomatoes' site at all of the first reactions. Best MCU film in a long while. I'm on Warmon from Empire Magazine. Thunderbolts is easily one of the best MCU movies in a long time, and maybe one of my new personal faves, which is from Emily Murray, Total Film. Thunderbolts isn't just the best Marvel movie in a while, it's flat out top tier Marvel. Tessa Smith from Mama's Geeky. I haven't felt this giddy leaving an MCU movie in years. It's top shelf Marvel, which is from Griffin Schiller from Film Speak. I think this is the best looking MCU movie in years. Jacob Fisher discussing films. It may not be the flashiest, funniest, or strongest Marvel film, but its rough edges and imperfections somehow all feel fitting for this anti-hero team of misfits. Matt Neglia, next best picture. Thunderbolts is better than Marvel's last movie. The second half is a typical MCU formulaic comic book movie that abruptly wraps everything up and didn't work for me. Ooh, John Flickinger, the flick pick, didn't like it that much. I cannot overstate how much this plays like a spiritual sequel to James Gunn's Guardians trilogy, brimming with heart and sincerity. Griffin Schiller, Film Speak. I was going to make the same comparison, Earthbound Guardians of the Galaxy, but held back because I didn't want people to interpret it as James Gunn's humor and soundtrack. It's not that, but it is another story of rejects finding their family. Sean Chandler, again. The biggest compliment I can pay Thunderbolts is that it felt like Infinity-era MCU, a focus on the characters and story rather than fan service or future setup, says Ian Sandwell from Digital Spy. Really felt like old MCU, says Chris Parker from 3C Films. It's gritty, emotional, and unlike anything Marvel has done before. Nagir Chambers from Big Gold Belt Media. Thunderbolts is, in many ways, different from other MCU films that have come before it, and the freshness couldn't have arrived at a more opportune time when the franchise is in need of new blood and direction. Matt Neglia, next best picture. Is it an important part to the MCU? Deadpool and Wolverine was a highly entertaining event for fans, but this feels like an actual movie and an important piece of the bigger MCU story, says Sean Chandler. Heavy themes of mental health. It hit hard, Tessa Smith says from Mama's Geeky. It's overtly about depression, loneliness, and purpose. The whole point is they're reject characters, says Sean Chandler. Finally, a Marvel movie that treats mental health and depression as a serious matter and not undercutting it for the sake of a quip, says Randy Jones. It's some of Marvel's darkest material to date, dealing with the emotional wreckage of broken individuals, grappling with their past choices, and finding camaraderie amidst the emptiness of their lives, says Matt Neglia. For me, Thunderbolts worked because it peeled back layers on a subject I have long fought with. I also cried at a story I think people will relate to, Paul Klein says from Filmhound Magazine. It tells a genuinely emotional story you connect with. A tear was shed, says Emily Murray, Total Film. An emotionally resonant superhero film that pushes mental health to the forefront, says Amon Warman from Empire Magazine. Thunderbolts is basically a group therapy session in comic book form, but I wish it pushed harder, says John Flickinger. It's hilarious. David Harbour is constantly funny. I laughed. Weird in places, in the best of ways. How's the writing? The film story hit me like a ton of bricks. It's bold, important, and so well written. All the emotion helps distract from the fact that not much actually happens in its formulaic plot. What about the action? The action sequences are very strong. Sentry is incredible in action, great fight sequences. There's a larger focus placed on practical action and character-driven work that fulfilled me as a viewer. Thank God. I'm so sick of the CGI fight scenes like in the first Black Panther. Florence Pugh in particular is superb, just walks away with it. Florence Pugh continues to be a standout, while the entire roster is amazing and delivers freshness to the MCU that is much needed. Lewis Pullman and Florence Pugh steal the show and bring the heart. This may be a team-up film, but it very much belongs to Florence Pugh, who carries much of the dramatic weight of the movie on her back, while Lewis Pullman delivers a complex performance as a sympathetic character at war with himself. And finally, should we stick around after the credits? Stay for both end credit scenes because the last one is a doozy, and you're going to want to stay in your seat for the second post-credit scene. It's a biggie. Will Thunderbolts leave us hopeful for the MCU's future? Feels like the MCU is coming together and building towards something again. Okay, guys, so with all that being said, it sounds a lot like overwhelmingly this movie is really well received, with the one exception from the one person I can't remember who probably just having a bad day. Anyway, this is really exciting to hear because on one hand, I didn't hate Captain America Brave New World, but it definitely was like a 5 out of 10 for me. It was not horrible, but it was not great either. The story was kind of intriguing with the whole political thriller aspect of it, but it also felt slopped together and you could feel the reshoots. It felt like a Frankenstein of a project. The Marvels wasn't that good. She-Hulk wasn't that good. I love Shang-Chi and I love Deadpool and Wolverine, but Eternals wasn't that good. And Marvel, more so than not recently, have been really hit or miss. It used to be back in the day before Infinity War and Endgame, when a new Marvel movie was coming out, you just expected it to be great. Everyone, the whole world united was excited excited to go and see the next MCU film, even if it wasn't something you were necessarily excited about. Like, I wasn't salivating at seeing Captain Marvel because I didn't really know who it was as a character, but because it was the next chapter in the Infinity Saga and it was going to lead into Infinity War and Endgame, I was so excited to see it, to see what the next piece of the puzzle was. But ever since the Infinity War saga, Marvel's been very disjointed, where it doesn't really seem like they're building to anything. I mean, obviously now we know it's building to a multiversal epic war in Doomsday and Secret Wars, but we didn't know that until about a year ago. So for like 5 or 6 years, the MCU just seemed kind of directionless. And on top of that, all of the movies were tonally so different, where in the Infinity Saga, they all felt tonally the same. But in the Multiverse Saga, you had Thor that was like this really kooky, over-the-top, Sunday morning cartoon satire, if you will, where that movie just didn't work. Then you had Shang-Chi that was this really grounded story. Then you had Captain Marvel's that literally had a planet where everyone on it had to sing when they spoke. And it just, again, felt really corny. Everything just felt like it wasn't part of the same world. And I started to think that maybe this Thor Love and Thunder movie that we got was actually a different Thor, where he was a little bit more funny than the one that we're used to that's more grounded. And maybe Shang-Chi takes place on a different Earth. And I started to convince myself that once we got an Avengers movie and all of them were united, we would find out they're all from different multiverses, which is why they were all so drastically different, only for us to learn that that wasn't the case. And again, it just seems like Marvel kind of dropped the ball in the last couple years, didn't have a clear direction, whereas in the Infinity Saga, we always knew it was leading to a fight with Thanos. None of us knew what was happening here. And even up until a year ago, Kevin Feige and Marvel didn't even know where it was going to go, because originally we were going to get a Kang Dynasty movie where they were all going to fight Kang, but then everything that happened with Jonathan Majors happened and they had to scrap that and quickly scrap to find something that fans are going to get excited about, giving us Doom, arguably one of the greatest villains in the MCU history of all time. So they didn't even know where they were going in this multiverse saga. And I think they thought that because it was the multiverse saga where anything could happen, that we would be okay with kind of being left out in the void, not knowing how everything's connected. But when you don't have this unison between all of your movies, that they feel like they're all connected and leading to something, you're going to have people that start to go, yeah, I guess I'll show up to see the next Captain America, but I don't really care about this Thor Love and Thunder. It doesn't look that good. And I don't really, who the hell are the Eternals? I'm not going to watch them. They clearly have nothing to do with the overall MCU. And that's kind of the tone they set, where back in the day, people used to be excited about everything. And now it's, if the movie isn't glowing with reviews, we'll catch it on streaming. We don't feel the need to rush out and see it because it's not leading to anything. Then they kind of turned the ship around with Deadpool and Wolverine, where that movie came out of the gates and scored big. It made like $1.3 billion. It's the highest grossing R-rated movie of all time. It was a huge crowd pleaser. Now, the story itself wasn't anything game-changing. It was a road trip movie with two guys trying to find their purpose and save their home planets. It's nothing groundbreaking, but it had so much heart and so much redemption for our main characters, and it was this nostalgia trip, getting Hugh Jackman back. Everyone showed up and loved it. Then Captain America came out and kind of let some of the steam out of the pipes, where it wasn't that good, and goddamn did Marvel try. They reshot that movie like 3 times trying to get it to a point where people would like it, but that movie didn't do any favors for the momentum of the MCU. So now we have Thunderbolts, Fantastic Four, and then we're going right into Doomsday. And if Thunderbolts and Fantastic Four aren't amazing, Doomsday is in trouble. It will not be a billion-dollar film if people aren't excited going into that film. And if the 2 movies that come before it suck, then it is in big trouble. So the fact that the reviews for the Thunderbolts are glowing has me so excited, because the MCU desperately needed this. All it takes is one great movie to turn the tide and get everyone back on board. That's what Deadpool and Wolverine did, and then Captain America came out and it wasn't that good and it didn't make a lot of money, and it kind of turned the tide again. Now the Thunderbolts are getting these early reactions that are pretty much praising it, saying it's the best thing that Marvel's done since pre-Infinity Saga. That has me really excited, and the fact that they're saying this movie is a lot darker than anything that's came before it, I think is super refreshing, because I'm earning for that in the MCU. I know that they have a winning formula in the action comedy genre where everything is very action driven. There's some drama in there, but the drama is constantly broken up by a weirdly placed joke to lighten the tone, because at the end of the day, it is, superheroes. It's for kids. You don't want it to be too serious. But the fact that they're saying that this movie touches on depression is really exciting to me, because it's new grounds for the MCU, and it makes me really excited to see this. Not only is Disney understanding that they need to kind of shift tones a little bit and give people more of a variety of genres within the MCU, but we're also getting it in Star Wars, where Andor feels like it's straight from HBO, and that it feels like an adult HBO show that's not appealing to kids, but rather adults looking for more complex, thought-provoking stories. It seems like that's what we're getting in Thunderbolts, Thunderbolts with these outcasts, and the fact that people are saying it's pretty much Guardians of the Galaxy but without the humor, but a ton of heart. I am so excited. I love these reactions. I'm going to be there day one next Thursday night. I'll have my review up for it on Friday. And yeah, this is just a big vote of confidence. This isn't just fans, guys. It's not like the fans that get invited to the early premieres and they're going to say that the movie was amazing even if it's dog shit because they were excited to just be at the premiere. It's also critics praising this film who previously shit on a lot of other Marvel movies that came out before it, so none of them are biased. Anyway, guys, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Are you excited to see the Thunderbolts? Do you have your tickets already? Have these reviews swayed your opinion on whether or not you want to see them or not? Let's talk about it in the comments down below. And as always, guys, I hope you have a great rest of your weekend, and I'll catch you next time.